4. Describe an interesting advertisement that you have seen. You should say where you saw it, what it was about, why you think it was an interesting advertisement. I'm going to talk about an advertisement for Coca-Cola, which is one of the biggest brands in the world. I guess I could begin by saying something about where I saw it. So I think I would have to choose posters and TV commercials. I've seen Coke advertised everywhere. Going on to my next point, which is what it was about. I really need to add that the advert shows a picture of Santa Claus smiling and holding a bottle of Coke. I think the aim is to target children and associate the brand with Christmas time. And now, with reference to why I think it was an interesting advertisement, the point I want to make here is that the company is deliberately trying to influence and attract children. The marketers are trying to capture young customers. They are presenting the drink as something special, a gift for Christmas. However, Coca-Cola is not necessarily a healthy drink for children. It contains a lot of sugar. Maybe this kind of advertising manipulates children and encourages them to pester their parents. 5. Describe a practical skill that you have learned. You should say what the skill is, how you learned it, why you learned it, and how this skill has helped you. I guess I could begin by saying something about what the skill is. So I think I would have to choose driving, which is a practical skill that I use almost every day. Going on to my next point, which is how I learned it. I really need to add that I learned to drive a car by taking lessons when I was 17. My parents paid for me to have lessons with a professional driving instructor. I learned by practicing. First I had to get used to steering, changing gears, and using the mirrors. Then we practiced things like reversing and parking. I also had to learn the highway code. And now, with reference to why I learned it, the point I want to make here is that as a 17-year-old, I wanted to have the experience of driving a car. And I was fed up with having to walk or take the bus or train whenever I wanted to go somewhere. I also knew that driving would be an extremely useful skill. And in conclusion, if I have time to answer the question of how this skill has helped me, really I should mention that being able to drive has helped me in so many ways. The public transport where I live isn't very good, so I travel to work by car most days. Having a car makes my life much easier when it comes to things like shopping or visiting family and friends. 19. Describe a funny situation that made you laugh. You should say when this situation took place, what happened, how you reacted, and why you found the situation funny. I guess I could begin by saying something about when this situation took place, so I think I would have to choose a couple of weeks ago. I think it was a Saturday morning, and I was sitting having a coffee in a cafe near where I live. Going on to my next point, which is what happened. I really need to add that I was on my own, so I decided to read the newspaper while drinking my coffee. I must have been quite engrossed in what I was reading because the time passed quickly. And I suddenly realized that I needed to get going. What I didn't realize was that I had been sitting with my legs crossed, and one of my legs had completely gone to sleep. As I stood up to leave the cafe, I quickly became aware that my left leg was dead, but it was too late. I started to fall. I thought I could catch myself on the table, but the table tipped over and I fell to the floor in front of everyone in the cafe. And now, with reference to how I reacted and why I found the situation funny. The point I want to make here is that I can remember being on my knees in the middle of the cafe, looking up at the staff and customers around me. I felt really embarrassed and I expected the other people to find it funny, but to my surprise nobody was laughing. They were all worried that something really bad had happened to me. As I got up from the floor, I had to explain to the whole cafe that I was fine. I was embarrassed at the time, but I laughed about it later.